While that's definitely the sort of thing that Abby would say, it still creeps me out. Welcome back to my series, Dance Mums Unedited. This is the series where I read notes written by actual producers of Dance Mums and discuss all the behind the scenes information and things that we don't get to see on the show typically. This week's notes are over 70 pages long, so just be warned. It could take you quite a while to get through these notes, which is why I do these recaps, because it's probably a lot easier to process all that information as opposed to reading it all, because there was more to this episode than the producers cared to show. Let's jump right into it. The week begins at Studio K in Orlando, Florida, with Abby telling the girls and mums to line up in front of the mirror. She begins to complain about Kathy not showing up. As she discusses their last competition, Abby tells the girls that they need to be jumping for joy when they win. She says that they don't get excited enough. She compliments the girls on their performance of Where Have All the Children Gone, but she says that there was some fallout over the Make You Mine group dance. She reminds the kids to walk off stage like it was their best performance ever in order to psych out the competition. Specifically, she tells Maddie that she can't be upset because Nia left something out of the dance. She reminds them that they came second by only 1/10 of a point, which is an accomplishment given the fact that they had only just learned the routine that week. Abby talks about Paige's solo being entered in the wrong category last week, telling her that while she is usually happy-go-lucky, when things go wrong she runs away and turns into a 5-year-old. She tells Chloe that she needs to work on not trying to please her mum, but trying to please the audience instead. Then she goes through the first traditional pyramid, with paper covering all the photos, which is a change from the chalkboard that they used in previous episodes. Kelly believes that the producers decided to do pyramid in this way in order to dramatically reveal that Brandon was joining the team, and perhaps they really liked the suspense that it created, so they decided to do it for the rest of the series. Abby tells Nia that her mother was not happy with the choreography last week, and so she will be in the room during rehearsals. She tells Holly to write down notes for her, and declares that all of Nia's difficult moves will be put into the routine. Paige and Brooke are also given solos, even though we don't get to see them aired in this episode. Abby gives Holly and Melissa the job of organising the group costumes for this week. When Abby announces that Brandon will be joining the team for the group dance, the girls scream, and someone says that he is a sexy photographer and that they're happy he's here. During the group rehearsal, Diane explains that she and Brandon arrived in Florida at 7:30 the previous night. The mums talk about Abby inviting everyone to stay with her, and that none of them want to do so. Christy reveals that Abby excluded her from the invitation. She asks how the girls seem to know the group dance already. Holly and Christy discuss Abby's behaviour last week, and Holly says that Abby told her to leave if she doesn't like what Nia was given. Christy says that she wants to know what Brandon has in his, quote, spank bank, and Diane has no idea what she means. Kelly says if she knew that they were doing partner work, she would have gotten Brooke to wear a leotard, not a two-piece. Holly says that it was painful to hear Abby go on about all the things that were wrong with Nia last week. Christy talks about a mean security woman at the airport, and Holly says that she must have really scared Chloe, because she still talks about it. Abby talks in the studio about Brooke and Brandon kissing. Kelly asks Diane how she knows that he's kissed her before, and Diane says that Brandon tells her everything. Kelly says that she used to make Paige go and see what was going on between them, and Diane says that Brandon can't stand Paige. Abby calls Diane and Kelly down into the studio. She points out that Brandon is having trouble looking at Brooke, and Brooke doesn't want to be lifted. They struggle through another lift, and Abby tells the mums that it's like they're cousins. She tells them that they need to go somewhere fun to get their minds off the dance. She insists that they shouldn't go to a movie where they would just sit in silence. Abby says that unlike Kelly, Brooke would not be kissing Brandon in the back row. Brooke works on her solo with Abby briefly before leaving to go to the fun spot. Then Nia works on her solo, and Abby yells at her to get things right. She tells Holly that she wants all of the kids to win. Holly is unsure about Nia having another ethnic dance, and asks Abby if she will be charged extra for the one-on-one lesson. Then Paige rehearses her solo. Abby yells at her the whole time, telling her to act and to fix a ton of things. She says that she needs to add in the press handstand because she doesn't like her crotch facing the audience. While that's definitely the sort of thing that Abby would say, it still creeps me out. Over at the fun spot, Brandon asks if Brooke is doing a solo. She says yes, that she is performing a routine called Creature. He asks why she keeps on dancing, and she responds saying that there is nothing she can do about it. She wants to try cheerleading and be with her friends. In the Back to the Bar podcast describing this episode, Diane says that she was forced by producers to bring up drama. In reality, she says that she loves Christy, but she was just upset that the mums don't get to be at the studio as much because they're off filming Dance Mums. She wasn't allowed to say any of this though, because the producers are very strict about the mums not breaking the fourth wall. Over at Star Power, Gianna, Melissa and Mackenzie arrive to rehearse Maddie's solo. The other girls arrive soon after and sit around Maddie as she listens to her solo song, but she tells them to get away. Maddie performs her solo Universe. Afterwards in the green room, Mackenzie flips around. Melissa is talking to Maddie about her getting a title when Mackenzie flips right into her. Melissa says that Kenzie drives her crazy, asking why she flips so much. Holly begins running through the notes that she made in Nia's rehearsal. Kelly asks Holly if she knows what the notes mean, and Holly says that she has no idea. She admits that she just says a phrase and hopes that Nia knows what it means. Maddie walks over to Holly and shows her what one of the moves is. She tells Holly that it's now her turn to do them, and Holly says, "Another day, another time." The producers then set up a scene, appearing to be before Maddie's performance, with Maddie rehearsing her dance and her rival warming up behind her. The mums go in to watch Juliana's performance. Afterwards in the hallway, Melissa and Maddie talk about her. They think she did well, but Maddie says that she was fat. Fortunately, Melissa corrects her, saying that she is not fat. But she does add that she bobbled during her solo, and Maddie tells her not to be mean. Then the girls meet face to face, and Melissa compliments her on her dance and costume. For some reason, the mum begins to dance around. Christy and Kelly have never heard of Juliana outside of this episode, so they think that maybe Maddie looked very intimidated by her during the competition, and so the producers just sort of went with it and created their own storyline about it. At the awards, Maddie wins the Most Beautiful Extension Award and first place in her category. Overall, Juliana wins fourth and Maddie wins first place. The notes say that Juliana doesn't want her reaction to be filmed. Then Brooke performs her solo Creature. The girls say that Brooke did so well because Abby wasn't there. Melissa gives Mackenzie $20 for being good, and Holly and Kelly joke that they have been good and should get money too. Melissa says that she looks like a skunk. Holly talks to Nia about her solo, and Nia admits that her toe hurts. She thinks that she must have hurt it while doing a cartwheel, and says that it hurts to point her toes. Meanwhile, Kelly gives Brooke advice on speaking. She tells her to be engaging and to speak clearly. She asks if Brooke wants to win the title, and Brooke says she doesn't care. The following day, the cast arrives at the competition. Abby yells at Paige, telling her to have a balloon in her hand all day to practice for her solo. Abby goes through the costumes and realises that the flesh colour on Nia's costume doesn't match her skin tone. She wants to get coffee grounds in order to dye the costume. She shows Holly the headpiece and goes on to compare how many Broadway shows she has seen compared to Holly. Holly points out that she grew up in New York, so she has seen quite a few. Abby proceeds to darken Nia's costume using eyeshadow. Abby begins to ask the girls questions, asking Maddie who the president is. Then she starts talking to Brooke about Casey Anthony, talking about her case and who she is, just in case the judges ask her about it. As Nia is getting her costume finished, Abby says that it's about as straight as the kids on Glee. She yells about Nia's hair, saying that her headpiece is wrong and that her hair needs to be in a French braid, not a French twist. Holly says she doesn't know how to do that. Abby screams, "Nia, let's go." They rehearse in the hallway and Abby barks orders at Nia. Abby yells at her to use her face and to do a move bigger. She gets Gianna to demonstrate a move for her. Then Abby says that they talked about Slumdog Millionaire and that she needs to tell the story of that culture in her dance. Not an episode goes by where Abby doesn't say something culturally offensive. While Nia continues to dance, she tells her to have fun and smile. Inside the dressing room, Christy and Chloe talk about Chloe not having a solo. Christy reassures Chloe that she wasn't disappointed with her solo last week. Chloe says that everyone but her has one and is sad that she can't participate in the interview and runway walk. To be fair though, Chloe was participating in a competition outside of the show, so it's not like she was doing nothing. Christy tells her that they can do a runway in their hotel room later. Meanwhile, Abby brings Brooke outside to demonstrate some moves for Nia. After this, the kids goof around in the dressing room, with Brooke hitting Brandon, Mackenzie hitting Brooke, and Brandon hitting her with a balloon. Apparently, Brooke and Brandon begin to wrestle. Gianna says to Nia, "You have one of the bendiest backs in our studio and you are giving me this?" As Abby and Gia continue to yell at her over minor details, Holly begins to stress out, reminding them that this is the day of the competition. Gianna begins to get irritated, and Holly tells them that Nia is getting frustrated. Holly points out that Abby barks at Nia and that she's never like that with Maddie. Abby tries to be nice to Nia, telling her to do the best she can and saying, "I am talking to you like a person." Abby tells Holly that she is not in the room during Maddie's privates, saying that she is harder on her than anyone else. Well, that's deeply worrying because we know that Melissa wouldn't have spoken up for her kids if the treatment was as bad as Abby makes it out to be. Holly gets upset, seeing how afraid Nia was when Abby was yelling at her. It frustrates her that Nia was about to go on stage, and all they were doing was criticising her. She just wants Nia to be treated well, and not insulted out in the hallway with tons of people watching. Holly explains in the interview for this episode that she saw Nia staring off into space, and when she spoke to her, Nia said that she didn't think she would do well. Holly starts to cry and continues to do so as she works on Nia's makeup. Melissa comforts Holly, and Holly says that she doesn't care about winning, she only cares about Nia. Melissa begins to cry too, telling Nia how beautiful she is. They all go into the bathroom along with Christy. Christy tells Nia that they are fighting for the kids when things like this happen. She tells her not to be like Abby, but be like her mother instead. The girls rehearse the group number, and Abby screams at Chloe, asking what is wrong with her. She says that Chloe is a mute and makes her sit on the ground as they do it again. When Brooke and Brandon rehearse their part again, Abby says that it's good and a little sillier. Abby then tells the girls that if their mothers gave them $1 for every correction she gives them, she would never have to work again. She tells them that she has to yell because no one does anything. Nia then performs her solo. At one point during the performance, she forgets what she is doing. Holly tells Abby in the audience afterwards that all the corrections mess Nia up. Kelly takes Brooke aside and talks to her about pageant questions. She tells her that Abby will kill her if she messes up. She then tells Brooke that her pageant walk makes her look more like a truck driver. She suggests that maybe Brooke should do something different, like doing a kick or something, but Brooke points out that she will be wearing a gown. Then Melissa runs through pageant preparation with Maddie. She asks her what she likes to do in her free time and gets annoyed by Maddie's answer, saying that it is stupid. Paige rehearses and then performs her solo. During the awards, Paige isn't sure if her score got announced, and she asks the people handing out the trophies what she got. She sits back down holding up 4 fingers. As they walk back to the green room, Kelly tells Paige not to be sad on camera because she will look stupid. Maddie and Brooke then compete in the pageant. Maddie performs her solo Angel, and Brooke performs Creature. Maddie wins first place in her category. The following day, the group rehearses Snapshot. Melissa talks to Abby about stoning the costumes, saying that they don't have enough time. Abby asks her who is this dancer that makes her stop doing stuff. She continues on to tell Melissa that she wants Maddie to start talking to strangers to make her more comfortable on stage in pageant situations. What was going through Abby's brain there? First she talks about like that isn't offensive enough, and then she starts talking about children talking to strangers and how that's somehow a good idea. I think it's pretty obvious to everyone that that's not a good plan. The kids rehearse the group dance backstage and then perform it. From here on out, Chloe is at another competition, Dance Masters. This is also where Brandon went. Diane and Brandon were freaking out because they had to be at Dance Masters for his interview, or else he would have been disqualified. In the dressing room, Maddie does Melissa's makeup and Abby tries to talk to her. Maddie tells her to shush and Abby pinches Maddie. I don't think a teacher's supposed to pinch their students. Abby tells the kids that they have seen some truly talented kids here. She tells them that she bets that they always show up, give 100%, and that their checks don't bounce. She and Melissa discuss seeing Kathy at the hotel pool, yet she hasn't been with the team all week. Melissa mentions that Mackenzie's number was scratched because Vivi wasn't there. Abby declares that Vivi has been kicking back all season, saying that Mackenzie needs to dance with someone more advanced. Melissa confirms that Mackenzie has said that she wants a better dance partner. Then the girls attend an interview class with Abby, acting as though they haven't already done the pageant. Abby puts a book on Brooke's head. She makes Maddie improvise an 8-count tap routine, and she asks Mackenzie if she has any brothers or sisters. Mackenzie keeps laughing as she responds, saying that Paige keeps making her laugh. The mums and girls hang out in the green room when Kathy enters. Melissa tells her that she's incredibly mad that Vivi wasn't there. Kathy says that she missed her flight and tells them that their choreography is outdated. Holly and Kelly then question her about where they were during the last 2 days and why they would make Mackenzie sad. Holly points out that she has a career and a life too and still managed to be there. Kathy declares that she is not their friend. Melissa tells the room that she doesn't like to argue and it is what it is. After Kathy exits, she proceeds to talk about Mackenzie being better than Vivi. Kelly has explained that the mums would get really mad with Melissa because she wouldn't speak up to Abby. Apparently Abby used to say that if Melissa spoke up, she would be ruining her kids' careers, and so it was sort of left up to the other mums to speak up for Maddie and Mackenzie's best interests. And then they'd get frustrated when Melissa would turn around and accuse the mums of not supporting her kids. After the group awards where the kids didn't place, Abby announces that they will be travelling to Vegas, Tahoe and LA. Kathy tells Abby that she won't be joining them. She speaks to Abby alone, saying that she is upset that she doesn't get private lessons with Abby. She doesn't want to travel all over the place and thinks that Abby uses too much acro in her choreography. Abby proceeds to complain about Kathy's husband. She says that she has a lot of problems with Mr. Lukasiak and doesn't want another one of those. Kathy says that all she sees is concern about Maddie, and Abby asks if she is jealous of Maddie too. Kathy says no and reaffirms that she isn't staying. The next day, Abby calls Kathy to her hotel room. She tells her that she had a costume for the duet and that she just didn't hear from her. Abby tells her that she's pulling the duet and Kathy is upset. Brooke, Maddie, Paige, Nia and Kelly hang out in a hotel room. Kelly asks about Brandon, asking Brooke if they kissed or held hands. Brooke gets upset and the girls harass her about him. Kelly tells her that she must find a way to connect with him in the dance, even though she doesn't like him. Then the mums and girls go to Abby's house for lunch. Mrs. Miller recounts a story of how Broadway Baby got into the pool and sunk to the bottom because she couldn't swim. Abby had to rush her to the vet, but fortunately she was fine. After lunch, Abby pushes Brooke into the pool and chases Maddie around the edge of the pool. Brooke begins flipping in the water. Christy and Kelly make cocktails and the girls play with water balloons. Kelly tries to clean up to hide the evidence. She wonders if Abby saw the bottle of vodka in her purse. The girls play a game where they try to grab change at the bottom of the pool. Then Abby gets them to grab rings from the bottom of the pool. Paige gets all but one and Nia gets them all. Meanwhile, Maddie has trouble getting any at all. Then the watermelon game begins. Maddie sits in the corner not really wanting to go in. Paige tries to take off Brooke's top in the fight for the watermelon. Maddie starts to cry going to the edge. Nia is the one to get the watermelon out and Maddie watches her crying. Holly becomes upset, saying that there was nothing wrong with her. She says that kids get fake hurt on the playground all the time, and that she doesn't like the other kids being portrayed as bullies. Abby brings in a cake that says, "Congratulations, Maddie." She says it's for the title that she won last week. Christy and Holly seem very annoyed. Christy and Holly sit together on the lawn, and Christy says that Maddie hasn't had an undefeated season like Abby had claimed. Chloe had beat her twice. Holly asks if Christy noticed how fast Maddie got over her injury when the cake came out. She says it was a miraculous recovery. In her interview, Holly claims that Maddie was on the complete other side of the pool to the other girls when she claimed to get hurt. She says that Nia won all of the games that day, and that Melissa robbed her of the joy of winning because Maddie lost. Filming concludes with Melissa pushing Abby in the pool, and the other girls jump in after her and start to attack her. And with that, we've reached the end of another episode. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me. I know this was an insanely long episode, and I'm grateful that you guys are as interested in this episode as I am. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.